let's get into it. So on today's episode, we have the very handsome, the very successful Rob Anderson. Rob is a magician, and he is the owner of The Magic Moment. He is an entrepreneur. He's had over 50 million views on YouTube. He's worked with brands like Microsoft, Honda. This guy knows it all. So what we're going to do today is dig into Rob, his journey, and the art of entrepreneurship. Rob, how are you, big dog?
Oh, I'm good. It sounds like you've done your research.
Oh, mate, don't you worry about that. So, mate, let's start. How magic? How did you get into that?
Well, I was 5 years old. I always tell the story. I was a little kid and I saw David Copperfield on TV, and I was amazed. He was sawing himself in half and walking through the Great Wall of China, and my eyes were just glued to the TV, and I begged my parents to go see him. They took me, and they bought me a little magic kit after the show. And after that, I did all the little magic kit, little kids' tricks, and would show my parents a magic show in the kitchen now and then, and it started from there. But then I put it up. You know, I got out of it after a few years. That's all I had was the little kid stuff. But then picked it up again after college. I needed a hobby. I was like, what are my hobbies? What do I like? I go to the gym. Other than that, I like cars. I read car magazines. What do I have as a hobby? And I was like, it'd be pretty cool to learn how to do some of those like legit card tricks I see on TV, you know? So David Blaine and all that.
Yeah.
So went and picked it up from there as a hobby, and here we are.
So what did you study in college?
I originally went to school. So I started a business in high school. I started an e-commerce business in high school during like the dawn of the internet, kind of, you know, dating myself here. But I started an e-commerce business back when that was a new thing, selling car parts on the internet. I was like, I don't need to go to school. I'm running a business, all right? I'm an entrepreneur. I've got this handled. What do I need school for? My future's set. It's a brilliant teenage mind, you know? And this is like senior year of high school. But I didn't go to school really at first. And then I got rid of that business, realized that was not going to be my end-all, be-all thing. Went back to school, got a degree in information technology, or information systems. And went a whole different path for a while with a career at Johns Hopkins Hospital as a systems admin, and was still entrepreneurial on the side from that. But yeah, had a very legit career for a little while.
That's mental.
I know.
Was it a scary jump then, going from kind of what you studied to then building a career with your hobby?
Oh, it was the scariest thing I've ever done. Are you kidding? Moving from Baltimore to Las Vegas to be a magician, okay?
Yes.
It's not a prudent life choice. I wouldn't recommend it, right? I mean, I did perform magic before I moved to Vegas. I did perform some magic. 3 kids shows, okay? And then made the move. I was like, this is my path. I remember telling my friends, this is my path. I remember a conversation with my friend Chuck, actually saying to him, I'm moving to Vegas. I'm doing it. I'm going to be a professional magician in Vegas. This is my life path. And Chuck was like, well, see you when you get back. And it shouldn't have worked. There's no reason it should have worked. And the truth is, when I got to Vegas, I was really excited to be here. This is back in 2013, but I was also scared. I realized I had moved to the most competitive industry in the world for what I do. You come here and you see all the big billboards, Chris Angel and David Copperfield and Penn and Teller, you know?
Yeah, well, just circling back, you said it shouldn't have worked. So why did it and how did it?
There were a lot of ups and downs. I mean, we don't even remotely have the time to sit here. I don't know how long we have. We don't have enough time to get into the full story, but there were so many ups and downs. It was truly a roller coaster of a life experience and a learning experience that grew me as a person, not just professionally, but just personally along the way, through just a massive amount of hard work and perseverance through some incredible highs and devastating lows. Yeah. You know, you stick with it and you put real determination into something. It's not guaranteed to work. Nothing's ever guaranteed to work. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to make this all work. But it's a blessing. It's not like it's guaranteed to work just because you work hard at it. But I did work hard at it, and I did show perseverance, and I credit a lot of that with, a large amount of the success that I have had.
Mate, I love that. That's quite similar to myself in a way. Like when I was 16, we left school and we had to fill out a yearbook. Like, where would you be? Where do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? And I had no coaching experience. I had nothing. And I said, I want to be a coach and live in America. And in between that, I went to university, pretty much drank alcohol for 3 years, went on a cruise ship for 5 years, teaching indoor skydiving, people how to surf on a ship, and then became a coach. So in between then, but then it was only looking back. And I think my mum pulled it out and she was like, have you seen this? And it was like that moment of being like, oh, yeah. It's like it's actually coming.
You had that vision, you had that dream. Yeah. And even if you were on a different path in the meantime, like that dream and that vision was still there. It was still something that you had in your mind to do.
Yeah, and I think with your journey as well, like with me working on cruise ships, I worked with so many different cultures and people and different personalities and backgrounds. And especially with what you do like now, you've got to have those communication skills. And especially with, like it's different for me because I can build a relationship and that rapport over like kind of the days, weeks and months.
Sure.
But for you, it's like, well, I'm sure you'll go into it with the proposal and all that stuff. It's like that instant connection that you need to get and break down the walls, break down the ice, and just jump straight in.
Yeah, and I talk about that a lot. I mean, just you mentioned an interesting word, rapport. A lot of people don't really understand how important that is. My mentor understood that more than anything. I asked him one time, he was a fabulously successful magician, that I asked one time, how did you do it? What is your secret to all this success? And he leans in across the table at his magic shop and he just says, be likable. If they like you, they're going to like anything you do. He understood the power in likability. And the foundation of likability is, what is it? It's connection, it's rapport. And people, if you ask Alexa how to build rapport with someone, you'll get a couple of responses. You'll get practice mirroring techniques and practice active listening. And great, sure, but those are surface level actions. To do what I do relies heavily upon building rapport with people. And I found there are 4 things that really do build strong rapport and build it quickly. And that's showing mutual respect, trust, understanding, and comfort. If you can build those 4 things quickly, you'll have rapport. Suddenly those people are going to like you, connect with you much quicker. Mutual respect, trust, understanding, comfort. You build those, you've got a large part of the puzzle figured out with rapport building.
Yeah, and for me, and I suppose it's similar for you, it's like the more rapport you build, the more trust and the better relationship you have. So then, for example, in my case, when I'm like vulnerable and showing comfort and listening and all these things that you just mentioned, you open up more. So then it develops the relationship.
Oh, for sure.
But how do you do that? Like, for example, go into detail about the proposal and like do you remember when I inquired with you?
Sure.
And I was like, didn't for other reasons, but so, go into detail.
Yeah, so you're asking specifically about with my marriage proposal and event company, but where it applies even more is in corporate magic. When I'm connecting with a group in corporate magic, and here's why. The most common type of gig a magician's going to work is what's called a strolling close-up magic gig. That's where the magician goes into a corporate event, usually during cocktail hour, and while people are enjoying some conversation, some drinks, some hors d'oeuvres, the magician goes up to random groups of people, introduces himself, and shows them magic. And I also call this interrupting magic, because these people aren't expecting you, and you have to go in and you have to bond with them. And I used to hate these sorts of gigs, because I would see the way other magicians approached, and they would go in and spot a group, walk up and just announce themselves like, greetings everyone, I'm the amazing Jim and I'm about to show you magic. Get ready to pick a card. And what are we lacking there? Rapport. There's no respect for time, for the fact that they were just in conversation, just announced themselves as the magician, so they probably think he's going to try to get one of them. There's no trust, right? So you have to be able to like truly build rapport with people. The way I do that specifically, getting back to your question, I'm taking my time here. Getting back to your question, though, I did that the same way the first few events that I performed. And, I'd walk up to people, hi there, everybody. My name's Rob. I'm actually the magician that's here tonight. I'd love to show you some magic. Would you like to see some magic? Now, if they love magic, show us. A lot of times, though, there'd be like a polite acquiescence or lukewarm response at first because they don't know me. Do they like me yet? No, they don't know who I am, right? So one night I tried something different. I walked up to people and I did this. I just walked up and I introduced myself. Hey, everybody. Just wanted to stop over real quick. Sorry to interrupt. My name's Rob. I'm here with the venue. Hey, welcome into Caesar's Palace. Just wanted to check on you, make sure you have everything you need. Looks like we've got some drinks already. Yeah, we've got some hors d'oeuvres. Great. Hey, where'd you come in from tonight? Where are you joining us in Vegas from? Get them talking about themselves a little bit. They chat with me. They still don't know who I am. They think I'm the manager. Thank them and say, oh, by the way, have you seen The Magician yet? No? Oh, we've got this guy. We brought him, and he's got all these YouTube videos, and he does this sleight of hand. I saw him earlier. I'd love to send him over for you. Could I send him over? All right. If you need anything else, I'll send the magician over. But if you need anything else, my name's Rob. Walk away.
I'm already hooked.
2 seconds later, walk back. Hey, everybody, I'm Rob. I'm actually the magician. The responses were night and day. Now, why is that? What did I just do there? Notice I walked in. I immediately greeted them. I introduced myself. I welcomed them in. I told them I was stopping by real quick to check on them to see if they had everything they needed, showing respect for their time, their experience, their personhood. I wanted to make sure they have everything they needed. I got them talking about themselves, understanding them. I'll ask them little questions. Where are you joining us from in Las Vegas? Sometimes I'll say, hey, what's the most fun thing you've done on your trip so far? What's been the highlight of your trip? There is nothing people like talking about more than themselves. There are studies that are done on this that show it lights up the neurotransmitters that deal with dopamine receptors in the brain. When you get people talking about themselves, ask someone a question about themselves, kind of like you are right now. They love to talk about themselves. So that right there, kind of like you mentioned before, gets people very engaged with you and they feel connected with you. So that if you, in the position that I'm in as the magician, do less talking and allow them to talk a little bit more about themselves, suddenly they feel like, oh, hey, I like this guy that just came up here. This guy's pretty cool because he's listening to me talk about me.
So obviously, when you're talking about like that approach that, let's say, some magicians do, and then you found out like your way, your authentic way of building rapport, but you having that angle, which is getting your personality across, which for me is like being your authentic self in whatever field you're in is key.
Authenticity is so huge.
But in a way, it's like trial and error in the sense of like, did that work? No. How did I feel? It worked, but I wasn't comfortable. Yeah. And then it's just constantly tweaking, maneuvering it. And then once it works, you're like, oh, God.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to do this every single time.
It's exactly that. Find the thing that works for you authentically, Like you as a trainer are not going to be able to walk in to a new client meeting and be like, hey, everybody, how's it going? I'm Tom. I'm with the gym. Just wanted to check on you. I don't think that's going to work. No. But you could find the thing that works for you to build comfort, to build understanding, respect with your clients. And that's really the key thing. Don't just listen to exactly what I'm doing and try to repeat it. Figure out how you can make those concepts in a, again, great word, authentic way work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And when you were on the team as well, obviously we kind of bonded as well because we were both business owners, even in completely different industries.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we trained together at the gym, and we were like, oh mate, how hard is it? Because there's so many hats to wear, and we've only got one head, so we have to be HR, marketing, finance, all these things. So when we were training, we were just like, mate, it's so hard, so hard. So we connected with that, but then also had that working relationship where obviously I think if anyone's been on my Instagram, they've seen you many, many, many times. So the results speak for themselves. But I think that's what, in my opinion, something else that brought us kind of closer in the sense that, like, if something came up, I'd instantly understand and be like, right, sweet, no worries. And then we'd adapt it slightly. Or if you had a niggle or injury, you couldn't do jiu-jitsu or anything, I'd just be like, sweet, no worries. Just knowing you inside out and back to front allowed our relationship just to develop in a way that it wasn't do this, do that. There was always meaning behind it.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about you as a trainer. And I've worked with, several other trainers before, and I can say that you are by a wide margin the one who really gets understanding your client more than anything. And that's so huge. Rather than just, here's your workout plan, here's your meal plan, check in with me. here's how it looks like your numbers are going. You, at the forefront, made an effort to say, I want to figure out and know who you are as a person so we can figure out what's going to work best for you. And not only did I feel like you genuinely wanted great results from me, I mean, I've always felt in a very genuine, authentic way, like you just wanted to know me as a person. You were invested in my success on my fitness journey, and that's something that really sets you apart as a trainer. And I think when someone makes an effort to do something like that, that's what really sets someone apart in whatever field they're in, because so few people do that. So few people care.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think for me, it always comes and stems back to kind of the respect and just the most that I've gotten out of kind of people and clients is being so engrossed in their journey, and I'm engrossed in everyone's journey. Like, I want to know your business name, I want to know your kid's name, how many kids you got, what car are you driving, where are you going on holiday, how was it, what food did you eat? Because I'm interested.
Yeah.
And then that sparks conversation, and then again it comes back. I don't do that just to build rapport. I don't do that just to build relationships, because I do it because I want to. And if the end product is getting a better result, then happy days. But it's just knowing you individually, which then helps us become mates and having that working relationship to get.
Yeah, and again, I think that's what sets you apart, and that's one thing that I talk about when I deliver like a keynote. That's one important thing I talk about is the importance of putting your client, putting whoever it is you're serving first. That might be your boss, that might be your clients, customers, whatever, but putting them first, because so many people don't. So many people are like the magician. Picture this. You've seen the magician. We've all seen like a magic show at some point. We've all seen the magician who, boom, does a trick, something disappears. Applaud, clap. Now's the time to clap.
Yeah, give it me.
Right? And they do another trick and boom, same thing. Step forward and clap. Well, everybody's like, all right, great. Well, nobody showed up tonight to clap for the magician. The magician backstage, they'll talk about, I got really great reactions with this trick, but this trick didn't get as many reactions, but I got some really great laughs, and I got a reaction with that trick, and it's just get. Mm-hmm. And no one showed up to give the magician anything. They didn't buy a ticket saying, I can't wait to clap for the magician tonight. They showed up saying, I can't wait to see what the magician is going to do. And so many people lose sight of the people that they serve in their job roles, and they're there to just get their applause in whatever metaphor that may be for them. They're there to get something. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get things. Everyone wants to get something, whether you're a salesperson, you want to get the sale, the help desk wants to get the tickets closed, everybody wants to get a job promotion. That's great. Those things will come, but people don't like the feeling of showing up somewhere and having their needs be the secondary thing to that person's applause, so to speak, whatever that is. And that was never the case for you. That is never the case for you, which is, I think that is going to, and it is adding to your success in what you do.
I appreciate that, mate. That means a lot. It's kind of stumped me a little bit, to be honest. But going, let's just kind of tangent off, because obviously you're doing a keynote speech next week, aren't you?
Yep, my next one's next week. I deliver keynotes for corporate conferences, and next one's next week, yeah.
So just go into a bit of detail with kind of what you talk about and how you got into that, like public speaking. Obviously, it probably did help a lot by doing magic, and obviously having that sense of comedy as well, having that sense of charisma. Because, mate, for me, if a magician came up to me with no banner, I'd be like, I'm bored.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So you've got those communication skills and commanding a room.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, I always had it in mind from the time that I was, in my mid-20s, starting out trying to do magic. It would be really cool to be a keynote speaker one day. But I knew I did not have the knowledge in my 20s and the wisdom and the life experience to stand in front of a group of 50-something executives and tell them my wisdom about life. I still don't feel that way. But over the years, I gained a lot of very hard-earned life experience through, again, good times and just very, very bad times, and going through all that. And along the way, as I learned certain things and just progressed, I found myself having conversations with people. As I got just like slightly older, I found myself having conversations with people that were a little bit younger than me, telling them some of the things that I had learned. And I've repeated the same things over and over again, trying to either steer them away from things that would do them wrong, or even just trying to tell them, kind of like I've talked with you a little bit, some of the things I've learned that would maybe help them or point things out that will add to your success. And I realized after a while, I've got a TED Talk. I have sort of got a TED Talk because people, they responded well to it. You know, I don't think that my wisdom makes me special in any way, but like people were responding very well to what I was saying. And I realized after a while, I've basically got a TED Talk. So I wrote down, like, what are some of these conversations I've had? I just started writing down a lot of the topics that I had spoken with people about and all the things that I had learned throughout the years. And I put it together into a few different keynotes. And they deal with everything from the power of likability and building rapport. You know, everybody in any profession needs to be able to build rapport, whether it's rapport between a doctor and a patient, or a salesperson and their clients, or just team members in an organization. I talk extensively about the mental health effects of chasing fame and the unexpected disasters that can sometimes come to you in life that you do not see coming. What to do when those things happen, how to get through them, you know, techniques and strategies for persevering and being resilient through even just very bad times. Which again, you know, I've gone through. They've made me a better person. This all became the basis for what is now my keynote career that I get up and talk to corporate audiences about.
Mate, I love that. I love that. I'm intrigued to find out more. I'm sure the people watching are about the mental effects of chasing fame.
Sure. I mean, when I first came to Vegas, I mean, it's Las Vegas. You know, you see billboards. You've got so many big YouTubers here. And at first there were none. I mean, in 2013, YouTube was still a new thing. And I came here, I had started a channel somewhat, you know, a couple years actually before I came to Vegas. And I wanted to be, you know, the big YouTuber guy on TV, because, you know, back in 2013, TV was still a thing, you know, and I wanted to be known. And that was something that was important to me at the time, that I made myself into a notable figure, like a celebrity status, as many entertainers want to do. Many entertainers are in this for, again, what it can do for them. They are trying to achieve like a certain level of notoriety. My mentor said to me one time, "You will never be a truly great magician until you get over what made you get into this in the first place." And I never understood that at first. And I did understand it a while down the road. What he meant was, a lot of magicians and entertainers do get into this because of what it can do for them. They're looking for that applause. They're looking for someone to clap for them. I think in the background of a lot of people that get into the entertainment world, they need that applause because it was lacking somewhere else in their life. Someone didn't praise them. They weren't recognized. They felt unseen. You know, in my younger years growing up, there were times when I felt unseen. There was something missing there. And I wanted to get that through whatever it might have been, YouTube views or celebrity status, being on TV, whatever it might have been. And I needed to get over that and get past that before I could truly be great at what I do. And that gets to what I was talking about before. When I stopped trying to like seek that applause and I started giving an experience to my audience, when I stopped worrying about, oh, is this trick going to get a reaction? Is this joke going to get a laugh? And I started thinking more about, how can I give great value tonight to this audience? Which also took me into keynote speaking, because keynote speaking is much more about delivering value than entertaining. It's much more, I mean, yeah, you should put in some humor to it, obviously, but it's largely about delivering value. And my focus became much less laughs per minute and reactions per minute, and what am I going to get? And it became much more, can I give them something that they're going to take and use and benefit them in life? When my focus went there, my mentor's words came back to me and rang so true that I had gotten past that need for recognition. I had gotten past the need for recognition, fame, celebrity status, all of that. And it came through a very hard fall in my TV career. You know, I did 22 episodes on MTV, and then the show was canceled. It crashed, it burned. And there's a whole story to be told about that. But that was a very difficult time for me after that happened. And it caused me to really look at my life and figure out what I wanted at one point. And I had to realize that these celebrities that I'm flying around with, and you know, the TV shows that I'm trying to get on, and the YouTubers that I'm trying to work with, most of these people, they had qualities that made me honestly say, I don't really need or want to be around these people. This is not a healthy environment to be around. And I became much happier with the idea of just quietly being successful and finding ways to deliver value that did not necessarily always include my face being on a TV screen or a big number at the bottom of a YouTube video, view count.
Mate, I love that. And one thing that really stuck with me from that is about giving value and then, in a way, being humble with success. Because for me as a coach, like when I first started coaching, I was like, well, I shouldn't give too much value because they won't want to join the team. But now it's a case of if people want that direct coaching, then they'll join the team. But I'm just giving everything, mate. Like value, value, value. Because in my industry, well, for me, myself, like I'm in it to change people's lives. So that similar realization in the sense that why am I withholding value if I'm in this role to give value? And I love that. Like everything that you went on, and obviously, like you said at the start, like we could be here for hours.
How long we have, yeah.
But just quickly, if you can, when like the MTV show, like kind of like say like crashed and burned.
Yeah.
What was the first kind of moment or the first thing that you did to start putting kind of the wheels in motion again, putting your best foot forward?
Well, when my TV show ended, I lost everything in a matter of months. I wasn't focused on my magic career, so, you know, coming back to Vegas and really not having much of a client base at all, I quickly ran out of money. I went and I found a job. A job came up at an online casino that I worked at for a bit, and that destroyed anything that was left of me mentally. That job took away. But it was at that job, as hard as we were being drilled and as difficult as that was for so many other reasons of its own, at that job I was determined this will not be the end of me. You know, I had some very dark thoughts about myself at that time for a number of months, but I was determined this is not going to be the end. So I guess the first thing I did was solve the problem of not having money. I went and got a job, and then I realized I've always been an entrepreneur. I'm going to learn more about entrepreneurship and apply that to my magic career, which I know can make money. So at my breaks at that job, all I did was read. I would just read business books every single day on every break that I had. We had a 10-minute break every hour. I was reading a business book for all 10 minutes of that break every hour. I would go home. I would read business books, apply it, start applying marketing principles I was learning, start applying sales principles I was learning, and started building the basis for a real business-based career in magic. And with this magic moment, the proposal and events company. And I started building that up. That solved the problem of not having money. The mental health effects stuck around, though. I was angry about what happened for a while, and it took someone bringing that to my attention. I think I made some flippant comment at my friend's house one time, and I just remember my friend's wife saying to me, like, wow, like you're really angry about this, aren't you? And I didn't realize it. It took her saying that to make me realize, like, I'm bitter towards these people, and bitterness is never a good thing to carry around. Carrying around bitterness willingly is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. It is never going to change the situation for the better. It's only going to hurt you. I had to decide that I wanted to get rid of all of that. And it was only at the point that I hated how I felt more than I hated the people for their actions against me that I was able to find forgiveness for them. And I made myself truly forgive the people that had hurt me within the entertainment world. And that was the most freeing thing for my mind and my spirit that I could tell you. So I systematically went to work very intentionally fixing the money problem, the mental health and spiritual problems, and moved forward in life and started enjoying the success that I was having. Whereas before, that bitterness was holding it back. So in a very short form segment, that's what I did when that show ended and I had to rebuild everything.
That's incredible, mate. Like, testament to you though, and testament to like now doing keynote speeches for corporate companies and executives, because you've been through so much and come out the other side. And I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows now, but what you've learned isn't just, well, it's made you the person you are now. So in a way, I know it's easy to sit in this seat and say it, but in a way it's like kind of not good that you went through it, but the way you've came out of it and how you approached getting back on your feet by building an infrastructure from the ground up and solving the problems. But what I really, really love is the fact that you fixed the internal before you went to the kind of the external. Obviously, the money had to be sorted first. But then the next step was looking internally. Yeah. And that's, in a way, similar to what I've been doing. Like, I started therapy, and I've always been like, you don't need a therapist, you're fine, until I started therapy. And I was like, changed my life. And yes, I was successful, but I knew there was more, but I didn't understand why I wasn't kind of growing as a coach, an individual, not so much as a business, but I wasn't growing. And then my therapist said literally, like, it's because it's all in your head. And then we started talking about it. And I know it's on completely different levels, but it all matters. And that's what I'm, like, going back to the coaching side of things. That's the more vulnerable I am with, like, you guys, my clients and whoever, the more that we can, it's not like I'm qualified in therapy or anything like that, but just me talking about what I've been through, the same thing that what you do with your keynote speeches, allows them to be like, oh, he's been through that and he's happy and he's successful and he's doing bits. So I love that, and I appreciate you sharing that.
And you're able to share your experience, and you may not have a therapy degree, neither do I, but you have life experience to at least be able to say to people, yeah, I've been in your spot, I've been in bad places, it can get better, here's how it worked for me, and at least offer that to them.
Yeah, because with like this new direction with my coaching, which I've mentioned to you about, one of the key pillars is the mindset and self-mastery. And what you've literally just kind of proven is how important that is to kind of either rebuilding from a really low point or excelling into kind of a bigger bracket like I am, like with myself and in my business. And I feel like a lot of people look over building on their mental health, because especially for men, like they struggle talking about it. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm just like, I'm an open book, and I'll tell you anything. There's
a stigma around mental health to some degree, and there's especially a stigma around men's mental health to some degree. We don't want to admit that we need help. We don't want to admit that something hurt or that something, could just affect this up here at all. We're always meant to be, strong, stoic, unbothered, unburdened, and to some degree, you should be. You should not crumble at every little thing that happens. You should have the mental wherewithal, the mental strength to withstand, life's waves that come crashing. But, I mean, things do hurt, I trained jiu-jitsu. I started a white belt. Everything hurt. It's terrible, But you learn techniques over time, and you get better, and you learn to, as the great jiu-jitsu master Rickson Gracie said, flow with the go. They asked him, why are you so good? One of the things he said, he learned to flow with the go. And to me, flow with the go does not just mean to go with the flow. Go with the flow just means to let life's waves and currents take you wherever they may. To flow with the go is to be flexible. Hickson said one time he could see his enemy's attacks almost coming in slow motion, and he allowed them to have that, and he turned that into an opportunity for his victory. I'm paraphrasing here, if Hickson's watching. But he was the best, and I always took the principle of flow with the go, and I love that. I think it's important to be able to be flexible. Something is coming in life that is going to create, a wave crashing down. Okay, let's see it coming. Let's accept that it's coming. Is this something that I'm able to change, or is it not? If it's not, okay, what can be done? What can we do that's not freaking out about it? And sometimes, honestly, you've got to have people to talk to also. You've got to have mentors and trusted people in your life, good people that you can talk to, especially as a guy, whatever. You need to have people that you can say, hey, something's come up. I'm going through this, and I got to talk about it just to, get it out. And I think some guys are afraid that means they've got the picture of, them sitting with clutching a cup of tea and like weeping on the couch and and look, if that's you, that's you. But I think just being able to talk, there's no shame in just talking things out and being like, this is difficult. This isn't working for me right now. I don't feel good about this,
Yeah, I remember when I first opened up to one of my best mates, and then he opened up, and I was like, I feel so much better. And he's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then it just started that thing. It's like whenever we are going through a difficult period with whatever it is, it's you have that person to speak to, like you were just saying. But just linking back to what you said about kind of having that control and like the flow with the go, I think that also links in with having that emotional control. So when things are going bad, then for example, if something goes wrong with the business or whatever, for both of us, it's like, right, take a deep breath. What can I control? What is out of my control? Because if we just focus on what's out of our control, the overwhelm and the snowball of momentum going in the wrong direction is just going to build and build and build. So for me, it's now just building that emotional control and intelligence, really, through speaking, through coaching, through therapy, through my mentor, through my coach, just having that, and again, through having that life experience. And it's not a case of this is what's going to work for you. I was like, this is what works for me. Give it a go, and if it doesn't, we'll try it another way.
Yeah, and you can't force things on people. I think that's where a lot of people have gone wrong over the years, just in a lot of ways, trying to force that thing that worked for them or that they really thought would work on someone. People have done that to me. I'm sure people have done it to you. I'm sure people have done it to the folks that are watching. You can't force something on someone and tell them it's going to work, especially just for their mental health. I think there is a great power for the other person in giving them something and saying, this worked for me. I think you should try it. Let me know how it works out for you. I hope for the best for you. I hope this helps. I can't guarantee it. I think it will.
Yeah, one thing I do a lot more of now is putting everything into perspective. So allowing, for example, you guys to see it and visionize it. That's not even a word.
Envision?
Yeah, and like visualize it. There you go.
Visualize. There you go.
It in a different way. So whatever they come to me is like, okay, do I need to eat more protein in this meal? It's like, right, well, if you eat more, poor example, but given a perspective and in a way given an option A and option B, but both lead to the result, and they're choosing what path they want to go down. But at the end of that path is the result that they've invested in achieving. So I think that's, again, the art of kind of coaching is on paper, following a meal plan and all that stuff is sweet, I'll do that. But it's the relationships and kind of the mental side of things that people just kind of brush over. So going off on a tangent, like with you being, as people would have already known, successful, been through a lot, what role has kind of health and fitness had in your journey? Because when we were working together, you were training 4 times a week, jiu-jitsu, And if you fancied it, you'd go into the gym and you'd be like, oh, by the way, mate, I've just done like a big arm session. I was like, sweet, you've got upper body tomorrow, but that's fine. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was when we started working together. I was training it. I still do. I'm, as you know, I'm getting off of just a couple weeks of back-to-back illnesses, so I've been out of it, which I hate. And that sort of gets to your question there. I don't think I couldn't perform in life if I was not like taking care of my fitness and my body and my health. I wouldn't feel good. I don't feel good when I'm not actively working out and doing something for my fitness. It all plays together. For me, it's always been something. I wanted a weight set for Christmas when I was like 14 years old so I could start working out. I started doing karate when I was like 10. I never played like team sports or anything. That was never what I was good at, like, football or baseball or anything like that. But I always wanted to do some sort of like physical activity. I always enjoyed it. I wouldn't be happy in life if I was not physically active. And yeah, I push myself a little too hard sometimes where I'll go to the gym and do an upper body session, then go do 2 hours of jiu-jitsu that night. But a lot of the guys that I train with, I find they do the same thing. They're there at night, we're rolling, and they're like, oh man, I just did leg day today too. I'm like, oh really, me too.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a certain type of person who really enjoys pushing themselves and getting as much as they can out of themselves. I think it all goes together. I don't know how you could, and I know there are people who do, but I don't know how you could be like truly successful and driven in life and not take care of your fitness. I just don't know how that works for me. I know there are people who somehow do it. I wouldn't feel like a complete person.
No, I have to agree with that. For me, it's obviously it's the feeling and the looking is important, but it's the mental side of things. It's my outlet. Like before we came here, I had 45 minutes. So I went and done a quick run, and it changed my mood like instantly.
It does.
But it's also like linking in with what you do and going to like the keynote and the corporate events and with executives, high level people. After a workout, you'll walk in and you'll feel good. You hold yourself up. You'll have more confidence going into these arguably like quite, well, I suppose in the beginning, quite daunting situations because you've got to go in and make an impression instantly.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you weren't in a good place mentally and physically,
absolutely,
it would be so much it would be a lot more difficult.
Absolutely.
And they're the other kind of pillars that, like, I'm going to be, well, I have been doing it behind, not behind everyone's back, but the three key pillars that I've been working on. The physical optimization, which is basically just what we just said. The nutrition side, to make sure that energy is through the roof. And then obviously the mindset and self-mastery. So I've been intertwining that into everyone's kind of journeys without them knowing. And the response has just been mental. Like the feedback, and it's just been like, it's been, so I knew it was the right move.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, it's fitness and business is so closely linked. I'm a massive advocate believer, and I don't think anyone could persuade me to think any differently, in the sense that when you are in like a physical condition that is fit, strong, confident, and also your mindset is around the same level, but that's like a different conversation, that will without doubt bring you more success with business.
Sure, it will. I like your holistic approach that you're taking to everything, and just being in good shape and feeling good. You do feel so much better when you're just in good shape. And I mean, to some degree, I think people, especially if you're in more of the public eye, which, I get on stage and my appearance matters. It just does. I think that if you have someone and people see a person that is like noticeably very out of shape versus someone that is in good shape and like takes care of themselves, it says something about you. It does. It tells them something about you without it needing to be said. And whether or not people want to admit they make some sort of a judgment call on that, I think people oftentimes do, understandably so, make a judgment call just on that. But aside from that, you're going to feel better. If you are in good shape, you're going to feel better. If I was walking around 50 pounds overweight, dude, I don't know how I would do this. I would feel like crap. I'd feel terrible. And it's so unfortunate that so many people are doing just that, but I don't know how they do it. I am absolutely able just to perform better in other areas of my life, making fitness a priority in my life. Just like you said, you walk around, you feel good, you just got a good workout in, you go into whatever meeting or whatever you need to do for your job with a client or whatever, you're going to feel better, you're going to perform better. There's no way you can't.
No. And that's another thing, like, with working with people like yourself and like execs, CEOs, COOs, like really high-level professionals that haven't got much time at all, they always find time to train, whereas other people be like, I haven't got any time to train. And I'm like, okay, but when you start to think of it as a key business strategy, like you could probably tell me right now the days that you train, the hours you train, and what you trained if you weren't ill the previous few weeks.
Yeah.
When I build out my diary, my working calendar, training is one of the first things to go in, because it is a key kind of aspect to me. And what you were saying about like kind of when you're on stage and people look at you in physically fit condition, you look healthy, that will then transpire like one of those execs then might reach out to you and be like, I want you to do this for me at a private party or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's the same. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to always be in good shape. Well, I suppose that is my job.
Yeah, it's your job.
Yeah. But one thing that I want to be is the example for people to be like, not like I want to look like that, but I want that energy. I want to be that happy.
Yeah, you want them to aspire to what you have because that is what you do. It, aside from the fact that you just want to change people's lives for the better, it results in you getting more clients and being more successful in your career. So yeah, totally. And going back to what you said just a couple of moments ago about finding time for things, you will either, this goes for anything, you will either come up with reasons why you can or reasons why you can't do anything that requires any amount of effort. And the reasons you come up with will determine your outcome. There it is. Oh, I can't work out because I've got this tonight. Oh, I can't work out because I have to do this. I can't come up with a diet plan. I can't count my calories because, or like, yeah, I'm going to fit a workout in here. It's going to be hard, but okay, I'm going to have to make myself get up 45 minutes earlier tomorrow. I'm going to have to sit down and have to come up with some sort of a sheet to count out the calories. You'll find reasons why you can or reasons why you can't. Your reasons will determine the outcome.
Yeah. And you make time for the things that matter.
Sure, as anything, yeah.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm going down like this direction is because there's a lot of really successful people, and in a way you don't really fit this bracket, but in a way that you do because you joined the team. But I'm saying really successful people neglect their health because they are so fixated on pushing their success, which is amazing. But what I want to do and what I will do is bring everything together so they don't neglect any area. So they're bringing more success across every single area. And just using that like kind of the 3-pillar framework and just building and understanding the individual. And it all goes, I think everything we spoke about today just all links in together.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, mate, if people want to find your very handsome face, it's good, that one. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at It's Rob Anderson. 3 words, It's Rob Anderson. RobAndersonMagic.com, ThisMagicMoment.com, GetMoreBookings.com.
Anything else?
SarcasticPrince.com. I've started too many businesses over the years, and they're all online. I'm sure we'll link it somewhere, but those are just go to my Instagram, I guess.
Amazing. Thank you, mate.
Oh, man.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
That was class.